All right, welcome to lesson one of your inquiry project. I'm going to try to help you get this started on a good foot. And the inquiry project is potentially a little bit different than a project that projects you may have done in the past. But they're really awesome and you got to do some really great research in them. So let's get started. Inquiry projects tend to start with a burning question. And you'll see that this is going to drive your project, but that this is an inquiry project and not a research project. So you are going to be doing a lot of research, but at the end, I don't want you to do, if your project is on lung cancer, I don't want you to do an entire inquiry project and just tell me all about lung cancer. I want you to dive into some specific piece of lung cancer and potentially do an inquiry project on it. So an inquiry project, a research project would be you telling me all about lung cancer, but an inquiry project would be you diving into how lung cancer can affect your um, let's say, ability to mountain bike, because I'm into mountain biking. So you, instead of researching broadly on all of lung cancer, you would instead be focusing on something very specific and finding out how lung cancer would affect mountain biking instead. So what is your burning question? That is what your inquiry project needs to start with. So let's say, as an example, you want to take a look at Red Bull, and your burning question is: does Red Bull make you better at sports? Let's make it even a little bit more specific. Does Red Bull energy drinks affect your mountain biking skills and the speed that you go at? Now, the reason why I'm talking about mountain biking so much is because mountain biking is my favorite sport. So if I were to do an inquiry project, it would probably relate to mountain biking. And what you would potentially do then is you would have your burning question be, what are the impacts that Red Bull has on your sports? Maybe even sports participation or sports competition. And that would be your drive. You would have to do some research. You'd have to do some research on the ingredients in Red Bull. You'd have to do some research on actually, performing, maybe a mountain biking track with and without drinking Red Bull. Compare the results. But the burning question is really important, and it should be able to connect to something in the course. So if I were to look at the effects of Red Bull, in Anatomy and Physiology 12, this could relate to the biological molecule section. We're looking at all the different vitamins and ingredients in Red Bull. It can relate to lots of the organ systems and how it impacts your body. It could even potentially be related to like enzymes and homeostasis and how Red Bull interacts with that. If you're in Life Sciences 11, this could potentially, Life Sciences 11 would be a little bit tougher because the projects or the chapters in the course are a little bit different. But you could potentially connect it to some sort of biological processes when you're learning about respiration and things like that. So that is just like a quick introduction. I want you to start off your project with a burning question. And if you want help in honing in on this, you can come up into my Skype hours. But I hope that you can think of something that maybe you're passionate about. Maybe you're passionate about music, a sport, a book series. If you did your whole research project on Chewbacca, I would be so happy. The nerd in me would just come right out. But if you can find, and your burning question could be, how does, and this is kind of have to be hypothetical, but how can Chewbacca survive with such a thick amount of fur on planets that are so hot? And you'd have to take a look at that. So then the next thing is that this inquiry project, because it is a fair piece of your mark, it's worth double any of the other activities in the course. So worth double one of your labs or the research assignment or something like that. So I think it's even more than double, perhaps. I think it might be 2.5 times. But regardless, it is worth a decent part of your mark. So I do have you submit your inquiry project as a rough draft. In your rough draft, you are still going to complete the entire project as if it was your final draft. So do your project, complete it, hand it in. I will look at your rough draft and I'll be able to provide a lot of feedback on it. I'll give you pointers. I'll tell you where you're hitting your target and where you're not. I can potentially, highlight some of the weaker points in yours in case you want to, improve on that. Or I might just say, hey, you know what? This is great. You can move straight forward into the final draft, submit it, and get it handed in. So this is lesson 1. In lesson 2, we're going to go a little bit further, and I'm going to try to help you get started with the inquiry project. And then in lesson 3, I'll talk about how it's going to be graded, and we'll go over the rubric. All right. Think about that burning question and get ready for lesson 2.